Okay, I want you to write down any complacent and we will talk about them in an upcoming video. But right now, just send a comment. When have you become complacent with your diabetes care? This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Okay, complacency. Does it have any place in diabetes care? The answer is pure and simple no. Because if you're complacent, you don't grow. You're not open to learning. And it's important that we learn all the time. If you're not there and learning, then you just become stagnant. And if you become stagnant, you're not open to change. Your blood sugars will suffer. Your overall care will start to suffer. Oh, imagine that. Now, over the years, was I complacent? Yes, I would have to say I was. In my early teens, I went to the doctor, and I know I've told this story before, but it kind of fits in with today's lecture. I got a tongue lashing at from the doctor. And the backstory is I was writing back then it was urine test, down on a piece of paper, and I got a brand new typewriter, and I typed it all nice and neat out, and I took it into him, I showed him. Urine tests rarely made any sense. And I did this, and I got yelled at, oh, you just can't sit here writing numbers for the sake of it. I didn't. I just got things organized, typed it out, and I had enough at that point. I don't think even my sister, who I was living with at the time, realized that I can do it all. My blood sugar control is wonderful. But I think also the medical establishment at the time, we didn't have blood testing machines. You rarely knew what your blood sugar was unless you had gone to the doctor and he had ordered blood tests. But back then, you had no idea where you were going. And you could think, oh, you were going great. And you went to the doctor and said, well, look at your blood sugar. It's way out. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Well, that's what was starting to happen to me. I had moved to Edmonton, and I went and saw a medical doctor. And that doctor just yelled at me again. So this is the second time I got yelled at. And again, well, your blood sugars are totally out of whack. But I do everything. And with complacency, your mind sort of, what am I doing? How can I relay that I'm actually taking care? Yes, I do that. And you're sort of really stretching to be complacent. Now, the actual term being complacent means that you're kind of nonchalant. Oh, I have a high blood sugar. Oh, well, so what? It's not a really big thing. But I started to reach in order to find whether I was complacent or not. And things like, do I do my blood sugars or urine sugars back then 4 times a day? Oh, yes. And I think partly I was lying to my doctor. I was inadvertently lying to my family. And more important, I was lying to me. But diabetes was something I just had to live with. I didn't really care about control. I really didn't start seeing some indicators of control until I was in my senior years of high school, so that was 10, 11, and 12. I was sent to a private school, and the nurse there kind of started getting me in control with the pediatrician I was seeing. I still hadn't seen an endo, but the pediatrician I was seeing got me my first glucometer. I was kind of complacent. Yeah, I got this new tool. I didn't know what to do with this glucometer. I knew how to work it, but the most use it got was doing blood sugars at a open house thing at the school. It wasn't till a few years after high school where they came out with a new model, and I got hooked on that one, that I really started to see how blood sugar control really started to play a role. And that was sort of the awakening, kind of bringing me out of my complacency. It went from there to when I started to go and work in the head office. I would take a look and I'd start writing down my blood sugars every day. I'd take my binder to work and I'd write down all my blood sugars. It really came when I started one day. I think I was kind of bored and said, I think I've never really been good at record keeping. Let's see if I could come up with something. So I did that project, and this binder came out to be a lot of information I had in there that I kept up to date. That was my sort of first awakening. Then I got on with my endocrinologist, which I was with for about 20 years. And she was excellent. And my endo I have now is excellent. But I built that team. I am now not so complacent. When a doctor here comes up and says, oh, well, your blood sugar is 12.4. That's a lot better than the 2.3 or the 3.9 or whatever. So I'm happy with that. They're happy with that. I'm never happy with that. Even tonight, my blood sugar is down to 8.5. I went up to 11 earlier. So at 11, I was really starting to feel quite dehydrated. I don't know whether it was my condition from earlier, but I was really dehydrated. Imagine that. But now I'm starting to feel better. Even, it's still not a super blood sugar, it's in reason. And we'll see how I am by morning. Well, I know it's morning, but it's very early here. I just woke up early. I went to bed, I think, at about 7, so woke up. And I had a nap yesterday, so might as well utilize the time before people start getting up and moving around, giving a talk. So if you're finding people are indicating, well, you really should do this, and you're hearing that repeatedly, they may think that you're not taking the best care of yourself. Personally, oh yes, I'm taking the greatest care. But you have to be open, and you have to break the ceiling of complacency. For me, it took a few times. Late 80s, early 90s, let's just say Burnaby Hospital, and I had a frequent flyer card. And as I started to move, we moved, and the closer hospital was Royal. And I constantly went there whenever I had an issue. I saw different doctors. I didn't personally like it all the time, but I think hearing the same message, but hearing it in different tones, and opened myself up to a better life. To where I am now, my blood sugars may not always be totally perfect, but I'm not always super high anymore. I may have some lows. I may shoot up. Now, I don't know if I went up to 11. I don't know if that's part dawn. It's a little early for dawn phenomenon. But there was time I would wake up with a high blood sugar every day, and I just grew accustomed to it. I came up with my own answers, and just in the last video, I talked about diabetics healing thyself. It was part of I'll Never Be Low Again video. But because it was going high, I'd wake up every morning at 4 to do a blood sugar. If I was over 10, I think, I would give myself some insulin, and I'd wake up and I wasn't high. And when I woke up and being at a normal blood sugar, I felt better. It was amazing. So that's where I say, if you're complacent about your diabetes, the doctor's going to just give you steps in order to improve yourself. We both know you're not going to follow them. You have to be open to learn. Every doctor you see whether it be that emergency room doctor, your GP, your endocrinologist, a chance meeting with another doctor. Take the bits of information, open up your mind, and try to live your life to meet those goals. Incorporate it with your GP or your endo and come up with a plan that works the best for you. Don't be complacent. Don't follow my lead. Get yourself proper goals and achieve those goals. I know you can do it. I was complacent. You don't need to be complacent. Just work on achieving your goals. If you're running into problems, speak to your doctors. And with that, have a super day, and we'll talk later. Bye. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.